What's going on, everybody? I don't even know if we called this live before lock. I don't know what we need to find a new name for what we're going to be doing here today and in the future, just to give people a feel for what these daily comps are going to look like. From the content side of things, anyways, we'll have something today. And then we know we have games on Friday as well, right? So it's today, tomorrow. So that's what we'll do today is talk about today and tomorrow. Then on Friday, we'll come back. We'll do something in the afternoon similar to what today is. And then we'll talk about the Saturday and Sunday slates the best that we can. I know Sunday will be a little bit more funky just because we won't know which teams are going to be the 8 seeds, right? But we can still talk about two of the matchups. So anyways, that is going to be the plan. And then again, we'll do it on Monday. We'll probably do like 3 of these a week. So we're not going to do it for every single one, just because I think it's a little bit too much to ask, especially on like 2-game slates on like a Tuesday. As we get deeper into round 1, it probably doesn't make sense, right? So I do recommend joining the Discord. There's a link to that in the show notes where I'm sure more information will be passed around and people will be talking about it. So get into the Discord if you're not in there. And then again, I'll do my best to keep you up to date. I'll also touch on some of it during the NBA Bits, which we'll do Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern on our NBA Bit channel. So make sure you're just checking out both of those things as we go. Today, what I think we'll do, like I said, we'll talk Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll take a look at some of top-tier projection stuffs to get a feel for things. And then we will, we'll call it there. So it's just going to be like a power half hour. We're going to be focusing on like mostly the daily competitions and not necessarily the full game week stuff. We can check out some of the full game week stuff, but I just like, listen, SORARE basically told us this is where the cash is. The cash is in the daily. So let's first go over to the lines like we normally would do, right? So we've got the Hawks and the Magic. Magic are 5.5 point favorites. This is like Paolo and Franz are just in elite matchups here. Atlanta, they don't have, there's no answer for this, right? I was listening to a little bit of the Zach Lowe show, who had Mo Tequila on this week, and was talking about how Atlanta has tried to defend Orlando in the past since they've played not too long ago. And one of the things they were doing was throwing Onyeka Okongwu, the big guy, on Paolo. But what the Magic would end up doing is find Trae Young's guy. The link is in. Hold on, I'll share the link right now, Bichetti. Sorry about that. But they'll find Trae Young's guy, and they'll just call him up for a screen. They'll do a little two-man game of like Paolo and Franz, and they just kind of cook. So there's the link in there. J-Fog, I think that starts today, right? I think those auctions start today for those, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, so 219.5 point total tonight in that game. Let's blow this up a little bit more so we can see it. And then, again, I feel like Atlanta will be able to hang around. Atlanta likes to play a fast-paced offense. There's going to be a lot of turnovers. Both Atlanta and Orlando are very good at turning the ball over and turning the team over. So I expect a lot of, fast break points and stuff like that. But that's the first game, right? Then the second game, we have the Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are 7.5 point favorites. Just a couple of things to note here. Steph, I know, came off that 18-point fourth quarter, descended to overtime against the Clippers, but clearly was harboring, I don't know, a little bit of a shoulder ding up or something to pay attention to. Obviously, if you have Steph Curry, you're playing him tonight. But just something to pay attention to. The other knock that we saw was Jimmy Butler kind of took a knee to the quad, I think, maybe a quad contusion, if you will. I think they're all playing. Just something to pay attention to if you need it for like tie-breaking information. One other thing just to point out about Memphis, I know this total isn't too gaudy, right? What is it at? 227.5, so 8 point higher than the first game. Memphis doesn't play defense and they play fast. So this would be a great opportunity for Steph to just light them up. I believe he went for 50 on him earlier in the season, right? I expect Ja to have his way as well. Ja's been on a little bit of a heater lately. One thing to note, too, Memphis did not play their guys on Sunday. They should be well rested. Steph, Jimmy, and company played 40-plus minutes in that overtime game. So maybe Memphis is a little bit fresher. Golden State didn't have to travel, so there's that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think clearly Orlando and Golden State win both of these games. I know that's not what you're interested in. You're interested in fantasy stuff. We'll get to that here in a second. And then we'll look at the Wednesday games too, because we have lines for them already. The Bulls are 1.5-point favorites at home against the Chicago Bulls. We get a 218.5-point total. The only real injury concern I believe that we had was Josh Giddey, who I believe missed the last game for the Bulls. Billy Donovan said he should be good to go for tonight, so that's good news. So we should get giddying up in this game. Miami rested all of their starters, so there was no Bam, no Hero in their most recent game. They should be back and good to go. This is kind of a battle of pace, similar to Atlanta and Orlando, right? Where Chicago just wants to play full throttle, baby, just chucking. Pelly's a concern. All right, thank you, Stan. So maybe Pelly Larson rests. If that's true, I wonder if we see more Davion Mitchell just in general in this matchup. Like, do they throw Davion on a Kobe White to try to slow him down? But Bulls, one of the fastest paced offenses in the league. The Heat, one of the slower teams in the league. But this, for a fantasy perspective, is probably like if you had to pick one of these two nights, that you get like a high score that you could use later on. This Bulls and Heat one is pretty interesting just because I think like you can fit a lot of cheaper guys into the squad to allow you to play the higher end dudes. Then you get the Mavericks and the Kings, 215.5-point total. You get the Kings favored by 4.5. I don't even know what to take away from this. The biggest key is that Zach LaVine's cap is going to be so low. He's going to be somebody you have to play, right? So let's go over to top tier. And what we can do is sort by team and just kind of take a look at who projects the best team by team for these first two games. If you are subscribed to Top Tier, I believe they updated. They've got if we go to playoffs, we can sort by daily. Ooh, look at those sexual cards. Oh, those are based on the cards I own, so that's not helpful. Let's go to all players. It's going to sort by one game. Let's sort by team. Let's do Orlando first. Let's do Orlando first since they're the home team. Here's what we got. Playoffs. There we go. So your Chetty, I think you got to prioritize daily over weekly. I think you have to. The prize pool is just so much better, man. The prize pool is so much better in daily versus weekly. I think you got to do it because you're going to want to have access to those guys every night, right? Because every night you have a chance to get that like high score that's going to put you in a shot for the cumulative prize where there's actually cash rewards, right? All right. So looking at Orlando here, Paolo and Franz. Caps are in the 40s, right? So you got Franz at a cap of 40. He projects for 43. You got Paolo with a cap of 44. He projects for 48. I would take the over on both of these guys. Again, I think we're going to see I'm calling it now, 250 spots from Paolo and Franz tonight. Wendell Carter Jr. down here, cap of 26, projection of 27. I'm just going to scroll a little bit, and this is like one of the issues we're going to run into in the playoffs. These shortened rotations are going to make it a lot trickier to find value, right? If we filter by value, it's in the order we were just looking. Paolo, Franz, Wendell Carter Jr., Corey Joseph by 0.7, Goga by 1.4, and then Isaac by 1. Those are the only guys that out-project their cap, right? So it's a little bit tricky over there. I think you're going to be looking for value in quotes elsewhere. One name I want to shout out is Jonathan Isaac, and I don't think Isaac's had a pretty down year, even though he's been more available than he has been in the past. I just think like if you're trying to find a guy in the teens that has real upside, if Isaac somehow runs into 24 minutes and is playing defense like he can and racks up some stocks, could be a cheap piece that gets you over the hump. Like, I think I'd rather take a dart throw on somebody like Isaac than I would on Corey Joseph. I think you could make the same case for Goga if somehow Wendell Carter Jr. runs into some foul trouble, but I think I prefer the upside on Isaac. Now he's got some massive downside too, so we should say that. Like, he could come out there and drop like 3 points. Or like not even get into the game. There's definitely some risk there. But I think in this daily format, we want to lean into the risk a little bit. We know that we've got basically, 15, 18 days of contests or something like that in the first round. So we want to be taking, or maybe it's not that much. Is it like maybe 12, 13? I don't know, whatever it is. We know we have that many shots to accumulate the 4 highest scores, right? So I just want to be just screaming for the moon every single time. Shout out NBA Top Shot. Let's go to Atlanta now, the second matchup in this one. Same thing. Let's sort by projection first, and then we'll go to value. So Trae Young, obviously the best play here. I know Orlando, one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the league. So this is not the best of matchups for Trae Young. However, you know he's going to be playing massive minutes here if they do get into some sort of up and down running game because they are turning Orlando over and getting turned over themselves. There is some upside there. So I know the cap of 49. Kind of tough to swallow that as your MVP before we talk about like the second game. Like I think I would rank Paolo ahead of Trae, but I'd have Trae ahead of Franz, even though he projects for basically the same. Dyson Daniels' cap is run all the way up to 38, which is tough. Yeah, we can allow the cookies, DJP. Very helpful. Onyeka Okongwu is probably my favorite of the mid-range here with a cap of 34. I just think he's going to be asked to do a lot. I think he's going to be out there a lot. Karis LeVert, Zachary Risache. I'll be curious how they treat Risache. I know he's gotten a couple of nice runs, right? We saw him get that 38-point game in the last week of the season. But when we get into the playoffs, like is Quinn Snyder, is he going to be leaning on his young guys as much, or are you going to see like more Karis LeVert minutes? You got Mohamed Gee, Terrence Mann, Vid Krejci. If we sort by value, they don't have anybody that's plus value. Krejci and Georges Niang both like break even there. You see that? Everybody else is in the negative. So again, I think a lot of this has to do with the Orlando matchup that makes it pretty difficult. I think that makes it pretty tough. All right, let's go to tonight's game. The late game. Let's start with the Golden State Warriors as the home team. Let's sort by projection first. So you get Steph with a cap of 46. He projects for 44. Jimmy Butler's cap here is at 36 right now. He projects for 39. Again, unless we get some word from Steve Kerr later in the day that Jimmy Butler is not 100%, that is going to be limited in any case, then okay. But listen, Golden State does not want to play the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round. I think they can beat the Houston Rockets in the first round. And if they win tonight, they're off until Sunday, right? So almost like a week off. They have 5 days. So I think we're going to see balls to the wall. We saw some glimpses of playoff Jimmy, right, in that game against the Clippers where I think he had like 10 points in the first 9 minutes or something like that. So Jimmy Butler is probably your best value play tonight. In the mid 36s, like I know he projects for just a hair under 40. I would take the over on 40 SORARE points tonight. Should shut out Brandon Podziemski, who's been playing quite a bit. He's got a cap of 34. He projects for 30.5. Another plus value guy here. Well, 2 in a row, actually. Draymond Green with a cap of 24 projects for 30. And then Moses Moody, who really was like a standout in that early part of that game against the Clippers the other night with a lot of defensive plays there. He's got a little plus value too. I think the one thing that like Gary Payton's cap is too high to play, I think. Buddy Hield's too high. I mean, obviously, if you don't have any other choices, you can get to it. One thing I want to call out, you can't play Jonathan Kuminga. Can't do it. They treated that Clippers game like a playoff game, and Kuminga did not get into the game. So I expect more of the same unless the game gets out of hand. If Golden State gets up 20 or something like that, maybe we see some Mr. Kuminga. But I do want to shout out Kevon Looney here because if the Grizzlies are able to bang them on the boards a little bit, like if they're able to get Zach Edey and if Jaren Jackson Jr., even though he doesn't rebound, is able to get a little bit more aggressive on the boards and they're able to bully them a little bit, I wonder if we see less small ball from Golden State and we see some more Kevon Looney minutes. And when we're so desperate for value, somebody like Looney, who's got a cap at 13, projects for only 12, but kind of like the Isaac thesis, right? If Golden State plays big and Looney gets out there and plays like 18 minutes, he can get to 20 some odd points in 18 minutes. So I'm okay taking shots on Looney. 3DK, yeah, Georges was fine. He basically projects for exactly what his cap was. I think if you have other options in the later games, I would target the games that are going to have more offense than the Orlando Atlanta game, but I get it. All right, what the fuck is Taryn? Who did I say Taryn? Oh, Taron Armstrong down here. Yeah, I don't know who that is. I do not know who that is. That's pretty much it for Golden State, though. I would take Jimmy over Onyeka on that one. I would. Let's look at Memphis now. This is the last team for tonight before we talk about tomorrow's slate. Memphis here, the highest projected guy is Jaren Jackson Jr., the projection of 40. I'm fascinated by this Ja Morant projection. I'm not sure if I missed something and Ja is like a legit questionable for tonight, but I don't think he's going to be questionable. So he's not. He's not. Although I will say Underdog has him projected for 37. I'm going to take the over on this too. I think we're going to be seeing a ton of offense here. So anyways, Triple J cap at 36, projection of 40. I do think his interesting is the most intriguing. His matchup is the most intriguing because if Jaren Jackson Jr. is able to win his matchup, I think we could see Memphis stay in this game a little bit longer. As I said, his cap is all the way up to 48. So if he's your MVP, he's going to be the worst projecting MVP out of it. But I do think he's got some of the highest upside. We saw him have like a 36-10 game not too long ago. So Desmond Bane here basically projects his cap. You got Edey at 29 projects for his cap. Same thing with Santi Aldama. Scottie Pippen Jr.'s caps come up to 28. I think he gets squeezed a little bit. I saw Aaron in the chat asking about Vince Williams Jr. Yeah, he's probably your best value shot there. Cap of 11 with a projection of 18. I think I would rank, like, obviously the top three of Triple J, Ja, and Bane. I do think Santi Aldama has some upside. If the Grizzlies aren't able to win playing big and they have to revert to small ball, which obviously Golden State wants them to do, if that happens, Santi's the guy. If you think Memphis can win down low, I would load up on Edey. If you think they can't, I would load up on Santi Aldama. Again, I think Santi is one of the guys. Santi and Edey kind of like it adjusts the way that Memphis can play both offensively and defensively. And I think it kind of increases the opportunity for Vince, like Aaron pointed out in the chat. But I think Vince is probably only playing like 15 or 16 minutes. But I think it really boosts Santi's ceiling and Edey's ceiling. So that's where I'd be attacking there. But like I said, not a ton of value, right? So I think tonight, I think a Vince Williams Jr. makes a ton of sense. I think you can get to Luke Kennard for value. I mentioned Jonathan Isaac earlier. I think I don't know how many people are going to try to play a Kevon Looney. I think he's pretty intriguing. I mean, you could make a case for Quentin Post, who we talked about earlier, but I think I would lean Looney over Post. But I think those balanced builds are what's going to get you there. I think it's going to be hard to fit in like an MVP and then another 40 cap, Yeah, but Chetty, I think that's pretty close. I would say, let's see what the Underdog projections have for tonight. They've got Triple J at 40 and Jimmy at 36. Yeah, I mean, man, I think I would lean Triple J. Only because there is a chance Jimmy defers. If Jimmy defers to Steph a little bit. It's close, though. It's close, but I think that is where my lean would be. All right, let's look at tomorrow's slate. Try to get a feel for that, and then I can get into some more questions, too, if you have them. But, again, this is in case you were joining late, what we're going to do. Today we covered tonight's slate. We'll cover tomorrow's slate, and then we'll be back again on Friday to talk about the Friday and Saturday slate. I'll try to do a version of this show 3 times a week, probably. It won't be the same 90-minute, 2-hour live before lock. We'll probably get these done in 30 to 45 minutes, maybe one long one a weekend. The Friday one, maybe more of a hang. But all right, let's go to tomorrow. Let's start with the Chicago Bulls. Let's start with the Bulls here, Chi-City. If we sort by projection, giddy up here, cap of 50 with a projection of 45.9. I am pretty intrigued by tomorrow in those games, right? I think a lot of people will if you could only, who is your MVP tomorrow? Bam, Hero, Giddy, Sabonis, Anthony Davis. I think the key to tomorrow's slate is going to be Zach LaVine. I think he's going to be a pretty important guy. We'll talk about, and we'll keep going anyways. But Giddy here projects for 46. Vucci Mane projects for 38. You got Kobe White projects for 35. These are tough caps, man. Kobe White's cap all the way up to 40 is tough. Vucci all the way up to 43 is tough. You got Herter with a cap at 30. You got Buzelis in his first playoff game. His caps come up to 32. I mean, it's really hard to play any of these Bulls. I think I like Giddy the most and Kobe White the second most. I'm not really sure what to do with what the Bulls coverage is going to be. I think I kind of want to have the guy that I don't like. Andrew Wiggins probably gets giddy, right? And then I wonder if they throw Davion on Kobe White. And like Wiggins is a solid defender, but I think the way Giddy's been playing, I still think Giddy gets there. And he can, what I like about Josh Giddey is he can get there with like points, rebounds, assists, blocks. Like he does a little bit of everything. Kobe White, like you kind of need him to drop 30. I could see, though, if we do get that matchup, right? If Wiggins on Giddey and you have Davion on Kobe White, you could see Herter get loose. And his cap is 30, which again, like kind of high. Yeah, that's Leon. That's what I was just getting to, right? His cap is kind of high for that, but he could be the one that gets loose for the Bulls offense just because of the defensive assignments. And if they have a weaker link like a Hero on Herter, maybe they isolate her, not ISO. He's not going to do ISO ball, but like run some offense for the Red Rocket and Kevin Herter. So I don't know. The Bulls caps are kind of tough. Them going on this heater right before the end of the regular season was fun, but kind of nuked a lot of the value here from a SORARE perspective. Let's go. Welcome to Miami. Shout out Will Smith. Woo! All right, Bam Adebayo. I want to give Bam a little bit of a shout because normally I'm team never Bam. Cap of 40, projects for 41.2. I could see him just lighting up Vucevic. We could see him get right in front of that free throw line and like just dropping those little floaters, right? That little like 8-footer. I could see Bam just going off in this matchup. He's been playing a little bit better down the stretch. I think that's a fine play. Hero, wouldn't hate you for getting a Hero either. I think I like the Heat side of this more just because the Bulls environment is going to force them to be a little bit more fast-paced than they normally are, which just means more offense. Andrew Wiggins, I think people forgot about Wiggins a little bit here. Cap at 34, projects for 30. I think he is somebody that could really outshine his cap in a playoff environment. We've seen him do it before. So I'll happily throw some Andrew Wiggins into the streets. I mentioned Davion Mitchell, man. His cap has come up to 32, but I think if we get word that Davion gets the start, especially if Larson misses, I think Davion is a fine shout out. We got Khalil Ware over there. I don't think we can trust Khalil Ware. His cap is 29, so you can do it. It's low enough that you can do it when value is so sparse in this slate for tomorrow night. But like, I just don't trust Eric Spoelstra to play him his real minutes, especially in like an important, meaningful game. I know Jaime Jaquez Jr. is coming off a 40-point game, but like, again, you know how many people needed to sit for Spoelstra to play Jaime? So I'm not going to be going back to Jaime. I would trust a lot of other guys over him. If you need some value, Duncan Robinson, especially if Larson missed, he gets a little bit of a boost. Duncan should have no problem getting some open looks against the Chicago defense. His cap is only 15. And when you're desperate for these guys in the teens to like pop off, I think that's a fine shot on Duncan or on Haywood Highsmith. Again, the Pelle Larson, like I don't think I'm playing Larson if he's good to go with a cap of 18, but if he's out, it does like boost up Burks, Highsmith, Mitchell, and Duncan Robinson just a little bit, right? Let's go to the nightcap here. A little nightcap, Sac City, bitch. Let's go to Sacramento. We got Sabone here, the cap of 42, the projection of 47. You got DDR, Dance DeMar DeRozan with a cap of 40 and a projection of 36.5. Zach LaVine with a cap of 33 and a projection of 34. I guess I misspoke on LaVine. He was like 27 when we were looking at him last, but he had that big 38-point explosion that probably helped. Cap of 33, not as sexy as the 27. But I think you can still get there. Keegan Murray, whatever. Keon Ellis, cap of 25 with a projection of 23. Devin Carter might be the only like value source here. Cap of 9, projects for 16.5. I think that's pretty fun. I think you could get there. So that's spicy. Sabonis, I don't really love this matchup. Like, again, Sabonis is going to get his points, but when we're trying to pick an MVP in this scenario, right, we're picking between Sabonis. We'll talk about the Mavs here in a second. Giddey / Vooch versus like Bam / Hero. I think I kind of rank him Giddey, Bam, and then Sabonis as MVPs. Now, that might be dumb because Sabonis can obviously still get there. But if he's going up against I don't know who's available for the Mavericks yet, actually. Let me they already have it listed. Hell yeah. It looks like for the Mavericks, they've got all their bigs ready. So they'll have AD, PJ, Lively, and Gafford all available. That's just not ideal for Sabonis, right? So I think I'd have Sabonis third in that list, or maybe fourth, and we'll look at AD in a second. But the Devin Carter shot is pretty good. And then I mentioned this on the stream that was a nightmare because the camera stopped working. But Keon Ellis should get a little bit more run. He's, had playoff proven He's their best on-ball defender. Maybe we get a little bit more Keon Ellis out there. But I imagine this matchup is calling for offense, not defense. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's go to Dallas now. I know I mentioned who was available, but let's do it this way here. All right, we got AD is the highest projecting, and then it's kind of a fall off after there, right? So AD projects for 44 with a cap of 40. You got PJ Washington, play the drop, cap of 27, projection of 29. Din Shitty over there, cap of 32, projection of 25. Clay, actually, one of the few value, like his cap has come all the way down to 19, projects for 25. Someone that's been there in the playoffs before. I think this is like a decent matchup for him. I wonder if he feels a little bit more pressure to lead the offense here with no like real good guard play, right? You're relying a lot on Dinwiddie and Najee Marshall and Max Christie and Jaden Hardy. So maybe Clay does get some shots up. And again, we're just looking for people within the teens. Yeah, Jaime's not going to play, man. I know Jaime had that 40-point game. He's not going to play if he's only playing in a blowout. That's like, Pat Connaughton also not going to play in the Bucks series, But anyways, I think I would rank these AD in terms of like guys I want to play: AD, Clay, PJ Washington, and then I wonder if we see a little bit more Max Christie than normal. My only concern in this game in general, like, do these teams want to play? You know what I mean? Do they want to play? Are they that jacked up to play one more playing game after that and then maybe play the Thunder? I mean, the Mavericks have had the season from hell. Sacramento is just Sacramento, right? I don't know. I don't know if that's what they want. So I wonder if we see some white flag waving early, but anyways, you're still going to have to pick some guys in there. So there you go. That is like a rundown of the first two slates of the SORARE NBA playoff season. Imagine you don't get a chance after a 40 game as a second-year pro after a 40 game. I know. Hey, I could be wrong here. I don't know if Stan Loves is in the chat and if he agrees with me. If he didn't agree with me, I feel like he'd be saying something. But the fact that he agrees with me, maybe that's why he's not saying anything. But I don't expect to see much of Jaime. I think for like injury stuff, I think the only thing we're really waiting for tomorrow, Josh Giddey and Lonzo Ball are both questionable. However, I do expect Giddey to play. Lonzo, if he plays, will be limited. And then on Tuesday, tonight, I don't think we have any Q tags. Everybody's good to go. All of the people that are out, we already knew were out. They're like with season-ending out injuries. So there you have it. There you have it. That is our first two slates. Yeah, that's okay. So we're on the same page. There we go. Just talked about Lonzo there. So I hope that helped. Yeah, if you guys have some questions, fire away. But yeah, this is going to be the format. We're going to be doing like some quick 30-minute to 40-minute hits. We'll do on maybe our Friday show. Friday, like I said, we'll cover the Friday night slate, Saturday night slate, or Saturday slate and Sunday slate. So we'll cover all of those. And then what we can do, the Friday one will be a longer one, but this will be a little bit more chill. Yeah, I think Paolo's the MVP tonight. I do. I think it's either Paolo or I think I'd rank the upside tonight as Paolo, Steph, Ja, Trey. I think that's how I would. I think that's how I would have it. I still think again, Memphis doesn't play defense. I was tempted to take Ja over Steph. Memphis does not play defense. So I think if you do go, like, I think it's important to have pieces of that game, though. I think that is going to be the most high-scoring game. I think on Orlando, man, it's hard to get to anybody outside of Paolo and Franz, which is tough because Atlanta sucks. But I don't even know, like, their offense is just so bad. Yeah, it's close. That is a coin flip for me, though. I mean, Paolo's been on a heater, man. He was averaging like 29 and 10 in the last like month of the season, or not month, the last like 2 weeks of the season. Again, we saw him light up Atlanta. Let me see, like, let's see what, oh my God, there we go. Let's see, Paolo, Banchero. Oh my God, versus the Hawks this year, versus Hawks this season. 26 points, 7 boards, and almost 5 dimes in his career. against Atlanta. So I think I like the Atlanta matchup a little bit more. I mean, Steph could definitely get there. Leon saying, I'm quite unsure to play Isaac from Orlando. Got 2 of them, but I don't really believe that he gets big minutes. Yeah, I mean, I don't listen. I have no trust in the Isaac call, but all I'm saying is the upside is what we're after this game week, right? So we're trying our best to find these guys that it's going to like. It depends all about roster construction, right? So if you need somebody in that range, I know I mentioned Kevon Looney. I do think I like Looney more than I like Jonathan Isaac. I think both of those guys have a floor of like 3 SORARE fantasy points, but I think they also have a ceiling of 20 plus. So that's what I'm doing. DJP said, should I force Jimmy and JJJ into the lineup? I mean, it depends what your other options are. I think that's what I would do. I think I go for daily, not weekly. Yeah. Sorry, I talked about this at the top. Guys, you can do whatever you want. All right. You can do whatever you want. But SORARE told us you can always tell what the better contest to target is based on the prize pool. SORARE told us with their prize pool that the daily is the way to go. And I think by putting your better cards in the weekly, it limits you from participating with your best foot forward in the daily. And that's where you want the prizes to be. So I think it's pretty short side, unless you really don't give a shit about the prizes and you just want to like win something. I think it is short-sighted to focus on the weekly stuff. So I would use your best. I would keep your best cards for daily. And then if you want to like do the game week stuff with stuff that's like really left over, that's what I would do. But you got to focus on the daily. And I know you could be like, well, but if everybody's focusing on daily and I put my good cards in weekly, I could win that contest. And it's like, okay, cool. But if you won the contest in daily, you'd win like real prizes. So I think that's what you have to do. Jameson is saying Bane, Jimmy, or Triple J. I think I'd rank them Triple J, Jimmy, Bane. Triple J and Jimmy are a coin flip. Bane definitely has the opportunity. Like any given night, he can go like 8 for 11 from 3 and have like 8 assists as well. I think if the Grizzlies have a shot, Jaren Jackson Jr. needs to be like, if not their best, their second best offensive player. Jimmy Butler, I think the tiebreaker I'm using is he played like 40 plus minutes on Sunday and like he's barely played this season, and the end of last season. So I just trust. And he got dinged up a little bit. So that's where I would go. But Chetty said second round of play-ins are in the next game week or this one. I don't know for the game week. I don't know. Let me see. Let me see. Let's check that out now. All right. So if we look at weekly here, looks like weekly runs to the 18th. So yeah. So starting Saturday, a new game week would start. Yeah, you should keep AD out for tomorrow. Yeah, I that's what I'm saying. Like I would keep AD out unless you because I just don't think there's any point in it. Like if you know what you're going to be playing tomorrow already, like you can get a feel already what you're going to play tomorrow. I wouldn't put those in the weekly because then you are going to just cancel it. Jimmy or Franz is pretty close. Jameson, that's pretty close. Franz projects like 1 point better than Jimmy. I don't know. I think I would lean Jimmy, though. It's close, though. It is. It's really close. So some of these guys could have 2 games. Yeah, but that only matters for the weekly. So if you're focusing on the full game week, yes. The teams that lose tonight will play 2 games. Well, no, that's not. Yeah, the teams that lose tonight and the teams that win tomorrow both will have a shot at playing 2 games. Windy City, I went team by team. I didn't really do best value. There's no good value. All of the caps are pretty accurate here. Like the highest value is like somebody being valued by like 5. So it's really team by team. It's trying to find the best guy. It depends what your build is around the other cards. So there's no like, oh, this guy has a cap of 5 and projects for 20. The value is like this guy has a cap of 16, projects for 18. No optimizer. Can't run the optimizer, DJP. Can't actually. You know what I'll do? I'll run the optimizer so you can't see it, and I'll see if there's anything that is surprising. Let's see. Okay. Interesting. All right. So you can get like 3 Oh, wait, no, but that's running in that. Okay, no, you can't really do the optimizer because it includes tomorrow's lineups as well. Yeah, I think Klay Thompson is a good call for best value tomorrow. For tonight, we talked about it earlier too. Vince Williams Jr. I think is great. I think that's like a really good shout. Is Vince Williams Jr. with the cap of 11. I mentioned Kevon Looney. I mentioned Jonathan Isaac. All of that stuff. There's no daily, right? I don't think there's a daily optimizer. Unless it's, yeah, because it's just got my cards in it, so that's not helpful. GG, I don't think you can get to GG Jackson tonight. I think that's pretty like he projects for 0. He's been kind of out of the rotation. I think like if you're trying to go cheap Grizzlies, it's Vince Williams Jr. and then Luke Kennard. Those are the two best. No, the playoff tab is just I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it's just the cards that you own, correct? It's just the cards that you own. So I've been in playoffs. You guys can see it. It's just the cards that you own. So if I run it, it's going to be just using the cards that I own. Pretty sure. Let me see. I'll run it and see. Yeah, it's just using the cards that I own. So it's not helpful. Not helpful. All right, let's see. Got Paulo, Curry, and Triple J in a lineup, and Ja in front. That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. KCP, I think, is fine. You're so reliant on him knocking down a F ton of threes, right? Like he doesn't do anything else. He projects exactly for his cap. Cap of 21, projection of 21. So you can do it. Yeah, Maddie. Got Guillen Banchero or Wendell Carter Jr. I'd go the first one, Banchero. I think Paulo's putting up north of 50. I would take Draymond over Wendell Carter Jr. I would take Draymond over Wendell. I think Draymond already projects more than Wendell. Wendell projects for 27. Draymond projects for 30. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I trust Draymond to be out there a little bit more. Yeah. Whatever you say, dude. Whatever you say. Don't know if that's true. Old people don't necessarily play better. You know what I'm saying? All right. Anything else? Yeah, Bucchetti's ready. Bucchetti's ready to go. Bucchetti's ready to go. I'm excited for it. I'm excited just for good basketball. Hey, I should mention a couple of things here too before we start wrapping up. Make sure you're joined over on Playback. I'm going to drop a link over to the Playback. We'll be streaming a ton of games this weekend too, especially if my softball game gets rained out on Saturday. I'll probably park it in front of the TV in the Playback TV and watch a lot of the playoff games. But we'll be streaming a ton of playoff games. Yeah, there was no way Damian was playing in the first round. I know that just is the start of playoffs, but there's no way. I don't know why everybody was thinking that. But yeah, go join that. I would take Moody over KCP. And then I mentioned this at the top of the show too. I mentioned, but if you're not in the Discord, go join the Discord because I'll be sharing more info, be more available in there. Super Carl's ready to take down the Chase. I know that. Super Carl's locked and loaded. Good to see Super Carl. New dad. Well, I guess not new dad. New dad times 2 or 3. I don't know how many people you be making. I think you can get the Brandon Williams. I feel like he's got a Q tag on him. He projects for 0. That feels wrong. Hold on. Let me double check something quickly. Okay, he does have a Q tag. So listen, we won't know until tomorrow. We won't know until tomorrow on Brandon Williams, but that's okay because you don't have to make that lineup until tomorrow. But if he is cleared to play, I think he is a play. I would take Draymond over LeVert. I just trust that. I don't know. What does Karras project as again? 20. Yeah, I would take Draymond over him. I would. All right, dogs. I think we're going to call it there. Go join the Discord. Go join the Playback. I kind of like this. Is actually a little bit freeing to do it in the middle of the day, to not be drinking alcohol, not have crazy injury news, only a couple of games, kind of a new format. I'm enjoying this. If you guys, this is the first one, right? So if you guys have feedback as we go along, that's constructive. Don't be a dick. But if you have feedback of what you would like to see during these shows, besides the optimizer, you selfish kids, let me know. Let me know, because definitely open to adjusting this. Super Carl helps craft the way that we are going to do this. No, I haven't said anything yet. We have to go shop in Super Carl. We were on a massive tax season here in the Americas. We were on a massive financial crunch here for the last month or so. Yeah, constructive compliments. Yeah, I figured it would be better for the Europeans. I figured it would. Yeah, but Chetty, it's pretty cool. So we basically, what happens, I don't think I can share an example of it. Well, I guess you can kind of see in this clip, but this is our playback room. So what you see is the live chat over here on the right. We basically, you can see our faces while you see the game behind you. So we watch the basketball game together. So instead of hearing Mike Breen yell, bang, you hear Weisberg go like this, yeah, Celtics defense, something like that. But it's a lot of fun. It's a good hang. And it's a lot like this, except we get to watch that. I would take Steph over Trey. Matchup. That's the matchup for me. I would take Steph over Trey. I just think, again, the Orlando versus Memphis, right? The Memphis defense is happy to just get cooked, There he is, Weisberg right there. Let's go, Weisberg. Yeah, I can't do it on YouTube. They have Playback has a partnership with the league that allows us. So normally you have to sync whatever your league pass is with, or whatever your cable company is with when you create your account over there. And if you don't have it, that's okay. You can either we have VIPs that we can give people so you can actually see the screen. Or you can just hang out and you don't see the screen, but we have enough VIPs. We can make it work. We can make it work. But all right, dogs, we're going to call it there. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll be back again. All right. So the next one of these will be on Friday, where we'll cover the play-in finale on Friday night. We'll cover Saturday's 4-game slate and Sunday's 4-game slate, the best of our ability there. So tune in on Friday. Stay tuned for more content stuff. Click all the links. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's all he needs. That 50-point super bomb. All right, let's get out of here. Have a good one. We outskis.